Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 28. Kshetra Kshetranya Vibhaga Yoga. In the last verse, Bhagwan Krishna said, the one who sees Parameshwara existing equally in all beings, the one indestructible among the perishable things and beings, he alone really sees. I have a soul, you call it by any name. I have an Atma, you have an Atma. Every living being, whether it is elephant, rat, ant, anything you take, it has a body, it has a life. The moment that life principle goes out, it dies. If somebody connects with everybody with that life principle, he is seeing the Parameshwara. So he alone really sees. That is what in the last verse Bhagwan Krishna said. Verse 28. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitamishwaram nahi nasyatmanatmanam tado yadi param gadim. Bhagavan in this verse says, the one who sees the presence of Parameshwara in all beings, that person does not destroy himself by himself. He reaches the ultimate goal. Param Gadim. He reaches the ultimate goal. What Bhagavan means when he says he does not destroy himself by himself? It's a kind of word play. Bhagavan says he does not destroy himself by himself. Nahi nasyat manatmana. Atmana atmanam. That is what Bhagavan says. Swami Dayananda Saraswati asks a question. Why a person commits suicide? He answers that the person feels hereafter there is no scope for happiness in this world anymore. And hence he commits suicide. He puts an end to his present life, not knowing, not appreciating that he will be born again and has to undergo all the sufferings of life. Because according to Hinduism, if you put an end to your life, it is only a deep sleep. You will get up after some time. So there is no end to your sufferings. It may be scary, but that is the truth. If you are not a realized soul, then you have to again undergo all the sufferings. Every living being in this world, they want to live. Otherwise, till last minute, we will fight against death. Nobody wants to die. Even though everybody says that I want to die. Nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to live and live happily. That is what is life. That is the beauty of life. In spite of all the sufferings, everybody wants to live. Only a rare few commit suicide. Let us not worry about that. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes Adi Shankara here, who explains this as all those who are indifferent to Atma are destroying themselves by themselves. If you are indifferent to your Atma, then you are destroying yourself by yourself. A person who has not realized the presence of Atma in every being, that person becomes egoistic, assumes himself to be the body, mind and sense complex. That is the problem with all of us. Then for the purpose of securing the happiness, he performs karmas or actions. Actions performed naturally, any action you perform, there is a result, cause and effect. Then the result is, it could be either punya or papa. To exhaust the punya or papa, you have to get another field, that is kshetra. That is, you will be born again. And thus, by this way, the person destroys himself. Again, the question is, how he gets destroyed himself? Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes a Tamil Siddhar song here. Nandavanathil orandi அவன் 4 மாதமாய் குயவனை வேண்டி கொண்டு வந்தான் ஒரு தோண்டி. மெத்த கூத்தாடி கூத்தாடி போட்டுடைத்தாண்டி நந்தவனத்தில் ஓராண்டி. He quotes this song, even though this song he has not given, but he has extracted the meaning of this song. He has given the meaning of this song. It's a wonderful Siddhar song. The Siddha Purushas, they generally sing songs which have two meanings. One is a direct meaning and another is indirect meaning. The direct meaning of this song is Nandavanathil or Andi. Andi means he is a beggar. He is there in a park. So he has nothing. Because he is a beggar, he has nothing, no property for him. He wanted to get a pot or a begging bowl for getting food. So he goes to the pot maker, and then prays to him. Regularly he goes to him and begs to him to give him a pot. So the beggar, the potter, kind potter, he gives a pot to him. The beggar, not knowing the value of that pot, keeping the pot on his head, he is interested in dancing, so he dances. The pot, it falls on the ground and it breaks. Again he goes to the pot maker, and again he begs for a pot. Every time this is the same thing is happening. This is the direct meaning. But the indirect meaning is Nandavanam is this world. Nandavanathilorandi. Nandavanam is this world, a beautiful park. Andi is the Atma, the life principle which is inside. Nalaru Madam. Nalu means 4, Aru means 6, Madam means month. Nalaru Madam means 10 months. The baby comes out of the womb after 10 months. Kuyavan year, Kuyavan is pot maker. Bhagwan is the Kuyavan. He gives birth as Tondi, as human being. Because of grace of God, the person gets the human birth as human being. Adi Shankara, you take any Shastra, it says Narajanmam Durlabham. Birth as human being is very, very rare indeed. Unless one has done lot of punyas, it is very difficult to be born as human being. Highest evolution is human being. No animal is reading a Bhagavad Gita. We are all only reading it. Otherwise, we would have born as cockroaches, who knows, and lived in the drainage pipe. And if we want to come out and see the world out of the drainage pipe, then one hit by the broomstick, by the lady of that house, or a spray. Now latest spray is there. We would have died. Without knowing the rarity of human birth, he engages in the sense pleasures and finally dies. He destroys himself by himself. That is what the meaning of this thing. He is the person who actually commits suicide. You get a human birth and you don't pursue the spiritual knowledge to attain the perfection, where you see Parameshwara in all living beings and happenings. If you are not doing that and going after your sense pleasures, you are destroying yourself by yourself. This is the correct meaning of the song. And that is what Bhagwan Krishna also says in this verse. That is the person who really commits suicide. Nandavanathilorandi, avan 4 மாதமாய் குயவனை வேண்டி கொண்டு வந்தான் ஒரு தோண்டி. மெத்த கூத்தாடி கூத்தாடி போட்டுடைத்தாண்டி நந்தவனத்தில் ஓராண்டி. On the other hand, the one who sees the pure consciousness everywhere, he does not destroy himself by himself. He does not waste this precious human birth. He makes use of this body and attains the ultimate end, that is liberation by knowledge. Swami Chinmayananda says, generally we see the world through our imperfect instrument. Our eyes are not properly tuned. Our, our body mind sense complex is not properly tuned. The one who sees the world with the clear eye of wisdom, that is the third eye. Shiva has a third eye. What is that third eye? And with that third eye, he burnt Manmata, that is Kama. What is third eye? Third eye is nothing but eye of wisdom. When he sees the world through the eye of wisdom, he will see perfection and bliss, divinity and sanctity everywhere, even in the midst of this sorrowful world. This world is full of sorrows. But that person, through his eye of wisdom, sees perfection and bliss. When the pure consciousness perceives this world, all said by Swami Chinmayananda, when the pure consciousness perceives this world through its maladjusted, imperfect instrument, it sees the world as ugly, mad world. To readjust the instrument, that is the mind and intellect equipment, correctly, and focus the instrument and see the play of pure consciousness in this world through the eye of wisdom, is to end the sorrows and agitations of this world. The one who sees the play of Bhagwan Krishna in every being and in every happening of this world is the one who really sees this world correctly. He does not destroy the self by the self. Here Swami Chinmayananda quotes verses 5 and 6 of chapter 6, wherein Bhagavan said, when the mind and intellect equipment, that is ego in us, is not hearing the higher calls of the self or not taking the guidance of the self, then our mind and intellect equipment becomes our enemy number one. It becomes egoistic. That person, that egoistic person, naturally wants to acquire and possess everything to the exclusion of others. In that process, he actually becomes his own enemy. And he looks at the entire world as his enemy because the world stands in between him and his endless desires. The individual who recognizes the entire world is nothing but play of one Parameshwara, his mind and intellect equipment is properly adjusted. But you see through a telescope, unless you properly adjust it, you can't see the scenery correctly. It will be a blurred vision. He feels everyone is nothing but, that is the person who has adjusted his properly adjusted his mind and intellect equipment, who sees the presence of Parameshwara everywhere. He feels everyone is nothing but reflection of his own self. It is like a person getting into a glass room full of mirrors, where his own image is reflected in all the glasses. This person has reached the highest point, that is the supreme goal, ultimate param gati. For a realized person, the world is nothing but a glass room, and every living being is his own reflection. Nobody, whether it's a saint or a sinner, even a terrorist, he will see the presence of Bhagwan Krishna and he will only feel, because even Rama saw Ravana and says, what a wonderful person he is. If he has not moved from Dharma, then he could have achieved so many things. But unfortunately, Ravana moved away from Dharma. That is what Rama himself says. Swami Chinmayananda says, the pure consciousness remains buried due to non-apprehension of reality. This is avidya. This results in misapprehension. That is why a person becomes selfish and he becomes a source of sorrow for himself and for the world. The non-apprehension veils the truth, because of which he feels he is independent of everything and pursues his materialistic and sensualistic pleasures. Ultimately, in that process, he destroys himself, commits suicide. Destroying himself is committing suicide by not appreciating the truth. When this non-apprehension ends, he experiences or realizes the play of oneself and hence he reaches the highest goal. The man who has torn the wheel of avidya, he who sees the play of Bhagwan Krishna in every happening of this world and sees Parameshwara in every living being, he revels in that glorious state. Reveling in that glorious state, he lives in the world graciously without being perturbed by what is happening to him through others. Whatever somebody says, whether he praises him or he criticizes him, whether he is accepted as a saint or a duplicate, you say anything about him, you do any hurt, whatever you do, he lives happily. He accepts everything with a smile because both the objective world and the psychological world are essentially non existent to him, in whom the ego has ended. Because he has no ego. Our ego, small successes, what you have achieved in life, just think. Why negligible success? We have so much of ego. I am the greatest. Everyone feels that way, including me or you. Yeah, we have not achieved anything. I bought this house. I suffered. I was the king in my office. Nonsense. Ego is bloated like anything. When the individuality has ended, all the imperfections attached to it also ends. And that is also the end of ignorance, which veils the truth. That is why Bhagavan in this verse says, the person does not destroy himself by himself. Who? Samam Pashyanhi Sarvatra. He sees every living being as equal. Samavartita Ishwaram. Naginasyat Atmana Atmanam. Tado Yadi Paramgati. He only reaches the highest point. Bhagavan in this verse says, by seeing the Lord as the same, as the one who obtains in the same form in every living being, he does not destroy himself by himself. He reaches the ultimate point because he has merged with Bhagwan Krishna. Verse 28 again. Samam Pashyanhi Sarvatra Samavartidamishwaram Naginasyatmanatmanam Tado Yadi Param Gadim. Next verse we will see tomorrow. Arihom Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 Narayana